My name is Allie McReynolds, and this lesson is for my ADED 520 class at Western Kentucky University. I'm going to be working with some work study students here at South Central Kentucky Community and Technical College on improving their interviewing, their interviewing skills for obtaining their first job after graduation. So to get started, I just kind of want to show the setup of the classroom. So if we can just kind of pan around here, we're in a small computer lab. There's about 10 workstations, I think. Obviously, we have a very small group today, and so we've just got them set up down here on the end together. The students that I'm working with today, we have Miranda Harden and Jennifer Vibert, and they are both students here at SkyCTC. If you guys would tell your majors real quickly.
I am going for Office Systems Technology.
And
I'm going for Associate of Arts.
okay, and they're both getting pretty close to graduation. I think Jennifer's maybe graduating in December, maybe?
Spring.
In spring? Okay, they're both graduating in the spring, so they got 2 more semesters. And we were talking before this lesson. I really wanted to do a little workshop with them to help them with something that they felt like they would benefit from at this point in their academic career. And they both expressed that they were a little bit nervous about the job interview process. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do a couple of activities with job interviews to hopefully build their skill sets and help them to feel more confident going through that job interview process, because it can be intimidating. So to start off, what experience do you guys have interviewing for a job?
I've interviewed one time. It was one-on-one, and I got the job.
Yay! Was it you said it was one-on-one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you felt like that went pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what about you, Jennifer?
I've done one-on-one also, and it's a little intimidating, but I was just worried what they were going to say, but
Right.
I did get the job, so it didn't go as bad as I thought.
Okay, awesome. So you guys may be pros at this after all. You're not giving yourselves enough credit. But I know you did express to me that there were some areas that you were still nervous about going forward. And maybe, this job might be different than the jobs that you've had in the past, because you're going to be a degree, you're going to have a degree at this point, and so kind of stepping up to another level of career there. So what are some things that you are worried about maybe your first job interview in your actual field that you've studied?
I'm just worried about the questions that they'll ask, and if they ask illegal questions, knowing which ones you're supposed to answer. And
right. That is
that
very
kind of
practical.
stuff.
Have you talked about that in any of your classes?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay, good. What about you, Jennifer?
Yeah, it's just knowing the right answers to say, or just not being so nervous, and
Yeah.
just hopefully they'll accept me into the program
Right.
or the job.
Right. Okay. Good deal. Well, the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to look at a PowerPoint that I've emailed both of you guys, and this is going to give you the tools to help you feel a little bit more confident and a little bit less nervous about those areas. This is very basic, and this may be information that you guys have seen before, but I just want to refresh your memory before we jump into the activities that we're going to do today. So they actually have the PowerPoint presentation on their computers here so that they can follow along. And it's called Acing the Interview, 3 Elements for Interviewing Successfully. And I've broken it down and so that hopefully that'll stick with you. So if you want to go ahead and go to the next slide. The first one is planning and preparation. And obviously the first step is going to be scheduling the interview. But some things to keep in mind when you're scheduling the interview include you want to schedule it at a time when you're not going to feel rushed and it's not going to feel hectic. So that won't add another element to your nervousness and your nerves and anxiety if you're rushing from one place to the other. Try to pick the best time that works for you when you schedule the interview. And you want to research the company. You want to know a little bit about them, because what does that show the company if you've taken the time to research and kind of look up information about them? What might that say to your interviewer?
That you're interested and you have knowledge of
Right.
the job position in the office.
Right. It says, I really want this. Actually, in my interview for SkyCTC, I think one of the things that really went well for me was when they asked me what I knew about the school. I said that I knew they had been in existence for around 70 years, that they started to serve workforce, and some things along those lines, that they could tell that I had done my research, I knew about the school, and that I really wanted the job. So that's a great thing to do in your planning and preparation. Anticipating questions Miranda, you mentioned that it kind of makes you nervous that you don't know what questions they're going to ask. Well, a lot of job interview questions are pretty typical. They've got pretty standard questions. So you can think about the position and think about what do I think they're going to ask me? What do they need to know about me to know if I'm a good fit for this position? And even make a list of things that you think maybe they're going to ask you. And then you can do that fourth bullet point, which is practice makes perfect. Once you've got your list of questions, you can have somebody, your significant other, your family member, your friend, make them interview you and practice answering those questions, especially the ones that you're kind of nervous about. And my poor husband has done this several times for me. I've made him help me practice my interviews, so it works. It makes you feel better going into it. And then lastly, it's in my resume, cover letter, letters of recommendation. You gotta have copies of those items to bring with you to the interview. That's essential. Don't put it off to the last minute or you'll have printer issues, your file won't save, you'll be, nervous and freaking out. That's one of those things to do as soon as you land the interview. So, and make sure they look professional also. Don't just bring them in a raggedy folder. Have them get you a nice leather portfolio or even just a clean folder, but have those very professionally presented. So, okay, next slide. The third thing, so the first thing is planning and preparation. The second thing is highlighting strengths that we're going to focus on. And to highlight your strengths, this is all in how you answer the questions. You don't want to be misleading, but you want them to know that you're aware of what skills you bring to the table. So you want to be clear and concise, clearly state what your strength is, don't bury it in a lot of unnecessary words, and make it relevant. If they ask you a question about being a team player, don't spout off about how good you are at working by yourself. That's not going to impress them. They're going to be a little confused. So make sure it's relevant to the question and keep it positive. They'll probably ask you about weaknesses too, but there are certain ways to answer weakness questions that puts a positive spin on it. So, and we can talk a little bit more about that a little later, hopefully. But those are the three things to remember with highlighting your strengths. Make it clear and concise, relevant, and keep it positive. And then lastly, we have following up. And those are the three thank yous. You want to thank them in person that day, and that sounds obvious, but you might be surprised how many people forget to do that. So thank them in person, shake their hand, and then send an email because they get that immediately. If you're not sure who to send your email to, you can check with the HR person that you schedule your interview with, and they should be able to provide you with the names and emails of the individuals that interviewed you. Send an email. And then the third thing is something that people hardly ever do anymore, but it makes such a great impression. Send them a handwritten thank you card. That shows them that you take the time to actually, send it regular mail, write it out by hand, and, really let them know that you want the position. And that stands out because so few people do it. So that's the third element, following up. So we've got, again, planning and preparation, highlighting your strengths, and following up. And so now we're ready to do a couple of activities to let you guys jump in there and practice these. So if you would, pull up the email again and click on the link to the YouTube video. And what we're going to do, once you get that opened up, is we're going to watch this YouTube video that has an example of two different people interviewing. And on the back of that sheet that you have in front of you, as you're watching this, I want you to be jotting down some things that these interviewees are doing well and some things that they're really screwing up. So just keep kind of a running note there of what's going well and what's going not so well. Do you all have any questions before we start this? Is yours not wanting to play?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Error occurred.
Well, that's wonderful. Oh. Do they have YouTube blocked? Here, let's type in the search box. Go to search and type in this Cerner mock interview practice and see if that brings it up. Yeah, it's the first one. Hopefully it'll.
This one?
Yeah. Cross your fingers. No. Okay, let's pause the video.